It's time to get hyped.
We don't get hype, we stay hype. You know it, bro. Bro. Hype, bros.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to an exciting edition of the returning Wrestle Wednesdays. Yes, I am here, Nate the Effing Great. I will be taking over for Wrestle Wednesdays, the greatest show that was formerly on Thursdays. Now is back indeed on Wednesdays. We are back on track. And it is indeed going to be about Wednesday wrestling. A couple of news stories that are going to be coming out from SmackDown, as well as tribute to the troops. And also, guys, going to be covering NXT as well as Lucha Underground, which was really good and really interesting. So let's just not deny it. Let's just get right into it, you guys. So coming out of tribute to the troops, we now know that the New Day will be defending their WWE Raw Tag Team titles this Sunday at Roadblock End of the Line against Cesaro and Sheamus, who picked up a victory in a Fatal 4-Way matchup, including Shining Stars, the Club, and I'm thinking that it was, I don't think it was Golden Truth. I'm trying to remember who the last team was. Boy. Maybe it was Golden Truth. Anyway, either way, Cesaro and Sheamus, they get another opportunity at the tag team titles. So, we're boiling down to the point where either they are running out of ideas for New Day to defend, or they are going to put the titles on Cesaro and Sheamus this Sunday to break the record. Now, far be it for me to deny that this past Monday on Raw, they had two of the greatest title matches I've seen in the same night. New Day has definitely broken the record for Demolition, and they have become the longest reigning tag team champions in WWE history. Now, what does that mean for them? Do they continue onward to the 800-day ordeal, or do they go on to something bigger? Do they drop the titles this Sunday, and do they just kind of break up, fizzle out? I think right now what they're doing is that they're going to keep New Day going all the way to WrestleMania. I think that that's just inevitable at this point. There is no way that they're going to take the titles off this Sunday now that I think about it. I think they're going to go with the plan and have them hold the titles all the way to WrestleMania. Maybe they'll turn heel, and then they will have the titles dropped to Enzo and Cass, who I think are going to definitely need a little bit of rebuilding to kind of get back into the shape of things. But another thing that's very interesting about the tag team titles scenario is not the Raw tag team titles, but the SmackDown tag team titles, because earlier this week, actually yesterday, Zack Ryder won the number one contendership battle royal to determine who would face the Wyatt family for the tag team titles in a couple weeks. I believe the last SmackDown of 2016. So far, though, there's a bit of a situation. Zack Ryder actually hurt his knee after the matchup, and he's going to be going in for an MRI, I believe either today or tomorrow. I know that that's going to suck, because if he does get out with an injury, then that's going to hurt Mojo Rawley in a major way, because I do not see Mojo doing anything after that. The tag team title situation is very interesting because they don't have that many well-established teams, so they kind of just been throwing people together, and that's how they've been putting the titles online. So, I mean, eventually I do believe the Wyatt family is going to drop the titles to American Alpha. They're just going to be delaying the inevitable. It's just going to take a matter of where and when. I think it's going to happen before WrestleMania. So hopefully Zack Ryder's MRI is a good, clean of health. Otherwise, Zack Ryder could be out for a substantial amount of time. So, Zack Ryder, if you're listening, hopefully you're doing all right, buddy. I did make the joke of woo woo oh, his knee, you blew it. So, I know it's funny, but it's one of those things where, again, it's like, Ryder, again, I'm hoping that you're doing all right, man. Hopefully it's not something serious because we need you, man. You're definitely one of those guys that the fans need to really get behind because you definitely deserve a lot more than what you're getting. All right, so from that, we go on to NXT. They had not only the cage match between Samoa Joe and Shinsuke Nakamura from Melbourne, Australia shown, but they also had a series of qualifying matches, I should say, to determine the number one contender for the NXT Championship at the NXT TakeOver San Antonio show coming up. So, first we'll start with the cage matchup. Very good. It was a great matchup, all in all. The ending was brutal because Shinsuke Nakamura hit Samoa Joe with not one, not two, but three Kinshasas and pinned Samoa Joe in the middle of the ring. All honesty, this was a good final chapter for them. So Shinsuke Nakamura is going to hold on to the NXT title more, and it looks like Samoa Joe will probably be debuting at the Royal Rumble. Will that happen? The rumors are really escalating that is indeed what's going to happen. We'll just have to wait and see what goes down. So that happened, as well as the series of matches to determine the number one contender for the NXT Championship. We see Ty Dillinger defeat Eric Young by disqualification when Nikki Cross came in and cost Eric Young the match. We see Andrade Cien Almas defeat No Way Jose. Roderick Strong defeated Elias Sampson, and Bobby Roode defeated Oney Lorcan. So these four guys are going to battle against each other in a Fatal 4-Way elimination matchup, and the winner will face Shinsuke Nakamura at the NXT TakeOver show. Honestly, you know it's going to be Bobby Roode because he is the most over person right now, and I really want to see Bobby Roode win the title from Nakamura. And that way Nakamura can go to the main roster and Bobby Roode can just continue being glorious as the champion. And I'm hoping that this is just a window of opportunities for Bobby Roode to finally get that spot and soon be called up to the main roster. It's one of those matches that I'm looking forward to seeing, Nakamura versus Bobby Roode. I think it's going to be amazing. I think that Roode and Nakamura are just going to have this beautiful chemistry together. So I'm hoping for the best when it comes to this matchup. But let's get right into Lucha Underground. The Battle of the Bulls tournament first round match is concluded, and the finalists have indeed been announced. They already had the Mac as well as Cage already qualified from last week. Now this week they have the first matchup was Jeremiah Crane taking on Killshot, Dante Fox, and Mariposa. Why is it that their opening matches are always so hard to top? This opening match between these four competitors, oh my god, it was just beautiful. Of course, you see the high-flying skills of Dante Fox, Killshot, and a little bit of hardcore deals with Jeremiah Crane. We see Mariposa, of course, doing her deal, which is, looking sexy and hot and also looking very deadly. I mean, I think Matt Stryker said, deadly. I'm trying to remember exactly what it was. It was almost like she did like 3Ds. It was just so cleverly put. And it's one of those things where you look at it and think, okay, that's obviously almost a joke towards her breast size. But at the same time, it's one of those things where it's like, it definitely describes Mariposa in the most uncanniest ways. spot of the night definitely was this crazy spot in which Mariposa has a kill shot in the vertebraker, and he gets put through a chair. Oh my god. This matchup, oh my god. I looked at everything that happened to Killshot today. He went through a bunch of tables. One of them I think was kind of sticking out. So it honestly looked like one of those things where I'm thinking, oh, it's going to get stuck in his spine and it's going to look horrible. And thankfully it didn't, but Killshot definitely still looked like he was just mangled and destroyed. I thought to myself, oh, his spine is done. There is no way that he's going to be able to walk after this. And the fact that he did tells me that Killshot is not human. I'm not going to lie. Holy cow. But in the end, we see Jeremiah Crane hit the double underhook pile driver on Dante Fox for the 1-2-3, and Jeremiah Crane goes on to the finals in the near future. But after the match was over, we saw Killshot hit the double foot stomp to Dante Fox. Obviously, they are still continuing the story between them. It's going to be interesting to see how it just continues to just elevate and how it just continues to just escalate. I think that these two guys are going to just really tear each other apart. I think it's going to happen at Ultimate Lucha 3 coming up I think it's going to be happening in the next month or so. But it's going to be insane. It's going to be crazy. We see a lot of interesting backstage deals, one of which involved Jack Evans and PJ Black doing this kind of Johnny Mundo movie spoof cameo kind of deal. And Taya was just recording them, and they're screwing up, and they're screwing up. And then Johnny Mundo basically went out and says, okay, you guys need to be focusing more on your match coming up. Because, basically, if you lose, then I should probably find some new members of Worldwide Underground. So basically, they win or they get kicked out is the bottom line. And it was definitely a very interesting way to end the night. So before we get into that, Cobra Moon took on Drago in a very interesting matchup where Cobra Moon did not get any offense. Drago just came out and just destroyed her. There came a point where it seemed like Drago was going to go up and hit a high flying maneuver, but then we see one of her quote-unquote henchmen, I should say. They came out and just decimated Drago, and then we see Aerostar and Phoenix come out, in which they try to even the odds, take out one of the guys, and then a second man came out. Oh my god, this guy was huge. He basically looked like Baron Corbin if somebody just stretched him out and made him like 7 foot tall. This guy was massive. And people started chanting, Luchasaurus, Luchasaurus. And I thought to myself, that is probably the best way to describe this guy, because holy cow, about as tall as a building, just jacked up. But then I also said that he was basically the Lucha Underground incarnation of The Undertaker, and the reason why was because this guy hits a dual choke slam to Aerostar and Phoenix, and then a tombstone pile driver to Drago. It just looked devastating. Cobra Moon basically tells them, hey, grab Drago and take him with me, and they follow her out. This is going to be very interesting to see. And of course, I made the announcement on Twitter. The first week in January, you guys, I will have Cobra Moon on this podcast, whether it be for the Squared Circle podcast or whether that be for Wrestle Wednesdays. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be insane. It's going to be just an amazing, amazing show, you guys. So be sure to send your questions in. I will tell you guys how to send the questions in next week, so tune into that. We see a lot of backstage segments, I should say, for Sexy Star, where she's training for the cage match with Johnny Mundo, which will happen next week on Lucha Underground for the Lucha Underground Championship. And they were really good. promos. Then we see